What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with another great week. It's me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy.
It's going to be good. We got 5 great guests for you today. We're going to have Ryan Spann to kick off the show. Follow that up with Stephen Peterson, who's got some big news about a fight he's got coming up. After that, we're going to have Adam Piccolotti back. We weren't able to have him on last week, but we've rescheduled. He's going to be with us today. And the final 2 guests of the evening is going to be Andre Harrison, the former World Series of Fighting featherweight champion, and only former because they folded. So we're going to find out what's up with him, if he plans on staying with the PFL, what his contract is, and see what's going on there. Should be a good conversation. We're going to close out the night with Colby Covington, who's got a big fight coming up with Don Young Kim in Singapore at Fight Night. So that should be a good conversation. Really looking forward to this, and we're going to be back in a couple minutes with Ryan Spann. Stay tuned.
One judge scores the bout 29-28, Spann. And your third and final judge scores the bout 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Trevin, the Problem God!
It really could have gone either way.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back, and we got Ryan Spann on the line. How you doing, Ryan? Thanks for joining us here at the Fight House today.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Congratulations on a big win.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good performance, man. What made you make the jump back up to light heavyweight?
We basically got a call saying that the UFC wanted me to move up and get a few wins in a row, and I can go. So we moved up to light heavyweight.
Now, I know you're a big guy. You're like 6'5". How much better do you feel at 205? That 185 weight cut must have been a nightmare for you. How does it make? How much better do you feel up there?
Both of the weight cuts can really be a nightmare, really. Basically, the 205 weight cut is so easy, I can make it hard at times. And it can actually be easier making 85 because I know I have to be more strict.
Sure.
So, but being on fight night, being a little heavier, having my normal walk-around weight closer to hand than, when I'm at 185, it's a little different when I feel a little more normal. So
do you feel like
I just have to get used to it.
Fair enough. Do you feel like when you're training to make the light heavyweight and stuff that you're able to focus more on like your technique as opposed to really focusing on like diet and intake and weight and all that kind of stuff? Are you able to focus more on technique?
Yes, absolutely. When I'm fighting at 185, a lot of the time is spent making 185, so I don't get to focus too much on technique, and I have to rely on pretty much being in martial arts all my life, But at 205, I get to add more. We get to actually refine more because, the weight cut ain't that big of a deal.
True. Is this jump going to be a permanent one since, the UFC that has kind of voiced their opinion on what they'd like to see you do? Is this something you're going to do permanently?
I don't know. I have to talk to my coaches. I mean, I like 85. I feel better when I'm smaller. Well, I have to talk to my coaches and see if we can get McMahon to let me go down to 85 after I get there. But as of right now, we just getting there. And we're gonna go from there.
Definitely, that's the end goal, right? So whatever gets you there, gets you there. I know
exactly.
That you were training for Myron Dennis. You ended up having to pull out of that with an injury. I believe you broke your nose, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that happen?
I had a hairline fracture in my nose, man. Basically sparring, man. I was out with my team at Peterson in Dallas, and we was doing some rounds of sparring, and I basically got caught playing around, really. It was really my fault. And got caught playing around and jacked my nose up.
You had a tough road before this fight. You had before the Piccolotti fight, you had lost 3 of your last 4. You were coming off a fight against Trevin Giles that you believe you won, and then you were forced out of the Myron Dennis fight. Where was your headspace before this fight? Were you in a good place mentally before the Piccolotti fight?
I would be lying if I said I was. It was hard, man. I questioned a lot of things, whether I should be doing this or not. What am I really meant to do? I've spent extended amounts of time away from my kids, a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. It just, I didn't know, man, and I didn't know what I wanted, what I should be doing, And I'm blessed to have a support system around me that was able to keep me going when I didn't even want to go anymore, So we just had to make it through it. So it was tough, man. It was real hard.
What put you back on track? Was there somebody in particular, somebody who spoke to you? What was it that was able to get you into the right place to have the performance like you had, or just to feel clarity in your career?
It was a bunch of people, man. It's just that believed in me when I didn't,
Fair enough.
So it just, I just had to, trust in them and get in there and do it.
One thing I noticed on, I was looking through your social media and stuff, and there was one post where you said your coach Saif Saad lit a fire you didn't know you had. What did you mean by that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my coach Saif, man, he's in Dallas, and he basically just kept, he's been around the game for a long time, man, and the way he is, he's one of the more hardcore coaches you can find in the game, man. Like, he tells us how it is, he's gonna tell you exactly what he thinks, whether you like it or not, and the way, he just kind of took to me, and I know it's like a big deal, to have him like remember your name and all, know who you are, and just the way, like, in training, how how he always looked out for me, even when my nose got broken, and he just reassured me and tell me that I got something special, and it meant so much coming from him because the level of respect I have from him because of who he is, and the amount of time he'd had in the game,
Definitely.
So it kind of it lit something that I didn't know I had, or I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. How important was it for you to have the performance you had? Like, when you talk about before the fight, you're questioning yourself, you're questioning whether you're in the right career, or you should stick with it, and then you come out and you finish a guy in 20 seconds. How important was that for your confidence and to remind yourself that, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be?
Oh, man, it was really important, but more importantly, it was important because it gives me one step closer to where, I need to be. That's one down, and we're looking for three more.
What was
and we can go,
Yeah, and I know this is something you've been looking for a long time. We spoke in the past, and we've talked about how the big goal for you is to provide for your children and provide for your family and stuff. So I know exactly what this means to you. It's good to see you on that path. How did it feel when you got back in the win column, when you get the finish and you're kind of standing there soaking it in, and you're back on track where you wanted to be? How did it feel in that moment?
Man, it was crazy, man. I was trying not to get emotion in there. Basically, it was the day before Mother's Day,
Yep.
And my mom was there, so I jumped. After I finished them, I found my mom in the crowd, and I jumped up, and I was, screaming to my mom, and I sat there and looked around, and I realized I was up there again,
Yeah.
Because I told my mom she would never see me lose again. I promised her that a long time ago. And ever since, when I would win, I would jump up and find my mom and tell her I told you, and I was up there, man, and I realized I was finally back. It's been over a year, in a fight that I lost to Drysdale, and then I got screwed over by the judges, in February. And it was over a year since I, won. And it was a good feeling, man. It was weird. And I just sat there and I just kind of put my head down on the cage while I was still up there, trying not to cry. So it was weird. It was a long road,
And a lot of people,
man.
I don't think a lot of people realize, because they don't, maybe know you as well or stuff, but I follow you on a few different social media platforms, and I know that you travel a ton to get your training, and you're not sitting like in your hometown going home every night. Like you're putting in road work to get your training in. So I don't think a lot of people realize the sacrifice you actually put in, because I know I see a lot of posts, and you're here, you're there, you're everywhere, getting these hours in and getting this mat time in. So, it's good to see someone that puts that kind of work in, get what they're looking for. So congratulations on that. It's a huge win, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually going to have to leave in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's going to suck.
Where are you headed next?
Yeah, I'm always gone, man. I'm probably going to go out and stay in Missouri and go train in Memphis in my hometown.
Okay.
Train out there with my team until we get a call to get ready to fight. And from there, I'm going to go to Dallas to do my camp. Depending on how much time I have, to go to Dallas and do my camp and finish, so I can already be in shape. Hopefully I can get a call next month. I'm trying to knock these next 3 fights out as soon as possible. Being at 205, I don't have to cut as much weight, and I'm blessed to have a sponsorship team with Council Ford that, I'm able to travel like I can,
Yeah.
and go train. So I just go do the pre-camp work. And when I get the call, go to camp and be ready to work.
What are you looking for? Like, how quickly do you want to make your turnaround? I mean, 20 seconds. You got to be as fresh as it gets. How quickly would you like to get back in there? I know you're looking to do it quick.
LFA has a show in Houston. I want to say June 23rd, and I want to be on that card.
That's a huge card.
Anytime in June, I'm ready to go. Just give me enough time to make the weight, and I'm cool.
Yeah, and that's a good card too, man. They got a lot of great fights on that card. It'll be a good one to
Yeah,
go on for sure. Is there any fight you're looking for in particular? Do you have anybody on your mind to kind of cement you on your path and get you where you're going?
It don't really matter. They know it don't really matter, and that's the hardest part. Finding me fights. It don't matter to me, but when they're not coming to me, people have to feel like I'm a good fight for me to come to them, because I don't mind traveling to go fight in somebody's backyard. I don't care.
Yeah.
And, they got to think I'm a good enough fight to accept the fight, but so nobody wants to fight me. We even talked about trying to get the Myron fight back,
Yeah.
because with my nose, I just needed time to let it to let the pain go out. The doctor said about 4 weeks, and that was 2 weeks before the fight with Myron, so I had to actually stop training for 4 weeks, and I only had two or 3 weeks to get ready for this last fight. And so we're trying to run that back. I think they have a show in Oklahoma City June 30th, and we was trying to, do it for then, but he didn't want to take the fight. So,
okay.
We just looking for somebody that wanna get down.
Fair enough, man. Shouldn't be too difficult. Hopefully, you can get somebody at 205. I'm sure there are guys that want to hit that LFA platform.
Well, you would think that, but
true.
They want to be there and win. So I'm not the person they're gonna do that against.
All right, I think the confidence is important, man. I know you've dabbed in color commentating. Can we expect to see you doing any more color commentating at the LFA events, or are you kind of just focused on MMA right now?
Well, since I'm not fighting them, if I can make it to the shows, I'll go and do it. I usually do like the prelim, the undercard. I want to get good enough to where I can be, on the televised and actually doing it full time when I'm not training, when I'm not in training, for a fight.
Well, that's kind of my next question. Was this something you do for fun or something you want to future in?
Something I like to do, after I finish fighting, kind of like following the route of Pat Miletich,
Yeah.
I really like him, and I respect him, and like just seeing where he went from being UFC world champion, because at the end of the day, after the athlete is done, usually he's done, so we got to have something else to fall back on. We don't have a retirement plan, so we have to, be able to do something else after we finish if we want to keep making money, if we don't make all the money we need to make. And even if I do, I still want to have some, extra to fall back on,
Sure. Is it, how long do you think you can fight for? Like when you realistically assess your situation, how long do you see your career lasting?
A while if I keep putting up hours like I just did.
Definitely. If you can get in and out in 20 seconds, you could go for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm prayerfully about 10 more years of fighting, and I would like to be able to be done in about 6 if I can,
True.
I look at people like John Jones, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, the names like that, Anderson Silva, who don't really have to fight anymore,
Definitely doesn't.
Yeah, don't really have to fight anymore. Ronda Rousey isn't even 30 yet. She don't have to fight. Conor isn't even 30 yet. He don't have to fight anymore. John is, I think, just turned 30 maybe. And he doesn't have to fight anymore, so
yeah,
I would love to be able to do that,
Yeah, you got that. Those are big shoes, man. You got some work to do. John, those are big names doing big. Yeah, man. But that's a good.
Yeah, I met Dana White. I told him I was like, he's gonna be wrapping that belt around me by my 28th birthday.
Okay.
And I'm 25 right now.
When did you tell him this?
The matter of fact, it was the very first episode of Looking for a Fight when he came out to Lake Charles and they discovered Save Northcutt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I fought that night. And I think I had an 8-second knockout that night.
Oh.
And he came and we talked. And I told him I said about my 28th birthday. I think I was 23 then. That he was going to be wrapping the belt around me. So I got some work to do.
There you go. Listen, man, we want to really thank you for dropping in on the Fight House, man, and giving us your time. I really, really appreciate it. I know you guys are busy guys.
No problem.
So
thank you
so much for dropping in, man, and I hope to see you back in the cage sooner than later.
Yeah, hey, me too. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night, Ryan.
All right, you too.
All right, take care. It's Ryan Spann. You guys super dedicated to the sport, man. If you follow that guy on social media, there's not a day that guy's not traveling state to state and trying to get his hours in on the mat with different people so he can pick up different skills. Super devoted.
It's not boxing. You have to go around and find the best people. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's another one of these guys that's trapped in between 185 and 205 too. It seems like maybe a bit. Like he said, it's just hard for him to make 205 too, but 195 would probably be easier.
You know what? It's interesting. It's something that Dominic Cruz said. Dominic Cruz said he really loved the weight cut because he had to be devoted to every aspect, like his cardio, his diet. So he had to be in great shape. Like he couldn't cut any corners because he had to be doing everything properly in order to make the weight.
Makes sense.
So it kept him in line, like cutting that weight to 135. I feel like it's something similar with Spann, Yeah. Like in order for him, when he makes 185, everything's good because he's had to be good everywhere. He's had to do the road work. He's had to eat properly. He's had to do all these things, right?
Yeah.
But he's 6'5".
It's an animal.
6'5", 185 when you're 6'5", that's a devastating cut, man. Like I can imagine that's not easy for him.
I'm surprised if Dana White watched him knock somebody out in 8 seconds in person. I'm surprised he didn't get like a call by now. To be honest, just based on
he doesn't have the little spiky hair Sage Northcutt, bud. He's not. No disrespect to Sage.
No,
do your
right.
thing.
You're absolutely right.
Do your thing, right? But we all know that it's the ability to market you is just as important as anything you do inside that cage.
For sure. When
it comes to that level, that kind of elite level. But that's not to say that he can't make it, man. The guy's, he's exciting. He goes out. He fights every time, And he's fighting at 205, and that's a really, really watered-down division right now in the UFC. So, it's not an impossible thing for him. Like, Volkan, we were talking to Volkan the other day. He fought one fight at light heavyweight, beat OSP. He's the number 5 ranked light heavyweight in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And now they've released stuff. We're talking about different weight classes now. Like California's talking about a cruiserweight, a 165, a 170, or 180, 175 or 70 or something.
Yeah.
175. Sorry.
It's just a matter of time. You can't have the sport can't grow unless you make these
Well, they're making all those weight cut changes, right?
Yeah.
Now they're going to start weighing it or checking your weight or something like 2 weeks before, and the day of the fight you can't be more than 20%. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Whatever, So
it's important.
Yeah, it is important. It's going to save lives. Anyway, that's another great segment with Ryan. Always happy to have him drop in. Good guy. And we'll be back next with Steven Peterson, and we're going to have some fight news. We're going to talk to him. His big fight coming up with Angel Huerta. I don't know why I said it like that. So we'll be back in a minute with Steven. Tune in. It's going to be a good conversation. Talk to you guys in a minute.
Landing punches repeatedly. Peterson absorbing punishment and coming right back forward. It's like he's only got forward after he gets hit.
What's going on, Fight House fans? We're back online with Steven Peterson. What's going on, Steven? Thanks for joining the Fight House, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jason.
Absolutely. Big fight announcement, man. Yeah, Angel Huerta. How you feel about it?
It's a great matchup for me. Obviously, Angel's really tough. He's done a lot in his career, but, matchup-wise, this is great for me.
You said you've been, I watched the interview where you say, you've been wanting this fight for your whole career. Why this fight? Why Angel Huerta?
We were supposed to fight back in 2012. I was 6-1 at the time, and Legacy told me I could fight for their title, and the number one contender was Angel Huerta. So they were trying to make that matchup, and Angel said he was hurt at the beginning. We waited about 3 months. He said he was still hurt. So, the fight never happened, and then our careers went different ways.
You said this fight happening was bad for your career. Why did you say that? What made you say that?
Because I ended up going and fighting for Bellator. I lost a split decision, and then I believe I got 2 more wins. I was 8-2, and then I hit a little skid. So lost 2 in a row, then turned 8-4, and then I had to bounce back from that. I feel like if I would have fought Angel back in 2012, I would have been the Legacy champ way back then, and our careers would have went differently.
I get that there's like the personal element of it, but at this point, this fight seems to do more for him than you. Like, if he wouldn't give you the fight when you were on your come up, why give it to him now? Like, his last 2 fights have been against a guy that's 9-13 and 1-9. Like, why give him this fight?
I just wanted this fight all my career. There's not that many people out there that are, jumping to take this fight. And I feel like maybe he saw something in my last couple fights, or, maybe he's been working on something since, because he's a one-dimensional fighter. So, maybe he thinks he can keep the fight standing nowadays, and he'll be able to have a better shot against me. Not really sure why he accepted it now, but definitely I need something after, dropping that last decision. I need to bounce back from that.
How does this fight have the same importance to you now as it did back then? Like, is this something that's grown with you over time?
Not so much. It's not for the belt or anything. Right. It's just a long time coming. Something that was bound to happen eventually.
I feel like maybe you got like an elephant's memory, man. You're like, listen, like, I don't feel like it went right last time, and I never forgot about you, and now I'm come back for what's right. Kind of has that feel to it.
Exactly.
I like it. How important is it for you to get like a dominant finish, or just have a dominant performance in this fight, both for your career and for you personally, like coming off the fight with Higo?
That's exactly the plan. That's what I need to go out and do. Go out there and make it my fight, and not play into his style, and get a quick finish and maybe one more, and hopefully get picked up by the UFC. I was told 1 or 2 solid wins, and this seems to be like a good fight for me to take, because it's not too much of a step back in competition. He's definitely a tough competitor.
Definitely. You're moving up to featherweight. Had you already been planning to make this move to 145?
Yeah, I've been fighting at 45 and 35 my whole career.
Right.
I've got a lot of wins at 45. All my Bellator fights have been at 45, but all my main event and title fights have been at 35. So it seems like I've been getting the higher profile fights at 135. So I decided to try and take a little higher profile fight at 145 and show I can do just as well in both divisions.
Does that have anything to do with the weight cut? Like, at this point in your career, is the cut to 35 overly tough for you?
Yeah, it's always been tough, especially now that I'm getting older.
Sure.
I've been fighting since I was 18 and making 135. Now I'm 26, about to be 27. So, just putting on denser muscle, and it seems to get harder each time. So I have to show up in better shape each time. I have to work on my cardio that much each time just to make the weight. So it makes for a good 5-round fight because there's no question I'm going to have the cardio to go 5 rounds. But, just cutting that weight all the time can be good for me. So I want to see what I can do at 45 and possibly stick around, or maybe take another big fight at 35.
Is it harder to stay disciplined for you when you only have to cut down to 145 as opposed to 135? Yeah, I heard Dominic Cruz say something interesting one time. He said that he enjoyed the weight cut because it made him on point in every aspect of his game. Like his nutrition had to be on point, his cardio had to be on point, everything he did had to be on point, or he wouldn't make 35. Do you feel like?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's a lot to that because you need, to make 35, I got to be in the best shape of my life. To make 35, not necessarily, but if I take it seriously and take my opponent seriously, which I do, I'm going to be in just as good a shape regardless. It just comes down to that final cut, whether it be 5 pounds that I have to cut at the end or 15 pounds that I have to cut at the end, and that's really what it comes down to.
One question too is, are you able to focus a lot more on your technique and your game plan and those parts of your strategy and your training, as opposed to having to really focus on that weight and focus on the cardio aspect and the dieting aspect and all of that, and this way you can kind of just hone in a little bit more at the gym?
Yeah, definitely get a lot more technical training rather than just having to beat myself down every day. Get to go through the motions and actually work on what I'm going to work on in the fight. I feel like it'll just it'll leave a lot more in the tank at the end when I like I said, I only have to cut 5 pounds to make 145. So I'm not depleting myself the day before the fight so much.
I bet you're looking forward to that fight week when you don't have to kill yourself completely. It's probably going to be a much more comfortable week for you, I imagine.
Yeah, most definitely.
Definitely. As far as your career, are you determined to be in the UFC, or is Bellator or the new professional fight league? Are promotions like that an option for you as well?
Those are always an option, but those are more of a backup option, right. To make some money in the sport. The UFC is where we all want to be. That's where the best fighters in the world want to be, and that's where you're going to make the most money fighting. So, that's definitely where I want to be, and that's my main goal. And I plan on accomplishing that without a doubt.
Absolutely. What do you feel how far do you feel you are away from that moment? With that phone call, what do you feel like you got to do?
I feel like if I go out there July 14th, I do what I'm supposed to do, I might get it. They liked the last fight. They told me if I would have won, that I would have been in. So, I just got to go out there and put together a win or two and show them, I'm a consistent fighter and consistently putting on a good show.
I tell you, man, you know what? The last fight against Ego, the only thing you didn't leave with that night was a belt. You didn't lose a single fan. You were so tough in that fight, man. Showed unbelievable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, saw what I'm really about in that fight, and I just refused to quit. So, with that attitude, once I get in the UFC, I'm going to be one of the main draws.
Man, it was. I really enjoyed that fight, man. You showed so much heart. It was incredible.
I appreciate it, brother.
Definitely. You've had a few setbacks, but you're only 26. Are you just touching into your prime? What does it do for you to see a guy that's close to you, like Rashad Coulter, a guy you train with, and he gets the call at 35 years old? Does that sort of renew your faith that, you're not even close to being out of this yet?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have, I'd say, at least 8 more years left in me of fighting. So I'm not even close to my prime yet. I'd say in about 2 years I'll be approaching that prime, and I'll be ready to make a run at the UFC title.
What was it like?
35 or 45.
What was it like to watch your man Rashad last weekend? Was that not one of the craziest fights? One of the craziest fights I watched in a long.
Yeah, it
long
was.
time.
It was incredible. I was jumping off my seat, at the TV. Some things he wasn't doing right got me a little aggravated, but then the way he came back and the way he was just going in there throwing bombs and refused to quit, it was inspiring.
Oh man, I really look forward to him getting his opportunity with like a proper camp, proper preparation, and having that moment to shine, because he showed crazy heart and his power was crazy. The way he was like, he was losing power from all the leg kicks he took, but he was still throwing it with some pop. Like he was still landing real powerful punches. I really look forward to seeing what he could do with a full camp. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, with a full camp, he'll go in there and do much better, and hopefully get the win. But the $50,000 ain't bad though.
I bet it's not. It's nice to walk out with 50 grand. It's a good day right there.
Oh yeah.
Last question for you, man. What's been the biggest improvement to your game since we've seen you last? Like I know you've talked about like with each performance, you see the holes and you close this, and you're constantly working on every aspect of the game, whether it's boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever. What will be the biggest improvement in you when we see you in the cage next?
My speed and my timing. I got hit too much in that fight, and I need to be more elusive and just see those shots coming better. So I've been working on speed, timing, boxing, just my overall stand-up game, more sticking and moving, and not just standing in front of my opponent.
Awesome. Listen, man, I want to thank you for coming down and talking to us for a little bit here at the Fight House. I really appreciate it, and look forward to see you in the cage in July, man. It should be a great fight.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you having me on, Jason.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. We'll talk to you soon, Steven. Have a great night, bud.
All right, you too, brother.
All right, later, bro. Steven Peterson. You know what? I like when there's a personal element to the fight. Like there's a reason that he wants this beyond just the athletic competition. It always makes it good.
Right. It seems like there's a lot of those kind of fights that happen. It doesn't make sense as far as the record goes, but you just want to get it on.
It's gonna be good.
His last fight versus Higo was tough, man. Like you said, like Higo looked like he had a great night, and he just wouldn't give up. In the 5th round, I was just like, he just kept taking like shots. Like he said, he has to learn how to avoid the shots, because he was really getting hit that night. You know what?
I think that's hard for some guys that have that chin. They can just lean on it. They know that it's there. Like he's not afraid. He takes a few shots, and it's like I could take those like all night. But it's like, okay, you can, but you probably don't want to.
Yeah,
it's probably not a good
at some point you're gonna have to learn to avoid it.
Right. So I think those are learning experiences for every fighter. He's only 26. Mm-hmm. He's just entering his prime. Yeah. So I expect to see really good things from that guy. Anytime someone's super tough like that, they can gain the skill.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, they could get that skill level up, right? Some guys just don't have that toughness.
That God-given talent, that toughness, like you said. Yeah.
That no quit. Like he has zero quit in him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's not quitting. No.
Even in the 5th round, he's still moving forward. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, there's no quit, zero quit. So you can work with that. You know what I mean? It's when guys will give up or they'll throw in. You know what I mean? You can see it happen where they're just looking for a way out. Mm-hmm. And there's none of that in him. So, I think there's a bright future. I definitely think that he will get his time in the UFC. He will, at some point, grace the octagon. I really look forward to it. The guy deserves it. He's been in it since he's 18 years old. He never cheats on the hard work. You can always... I
didn't realize he was teammates with Ryan. Was it Coulter? Was it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Rashad
Rashad. Yeah, that was an insane fight. I remember I messaged you. I was like, this is fight of the night, like 100%. Like
he won 30 seconds, grand, right? Yeah, they train out. I think it's in Dallas. In Dallas at Fortis MMA. So there's a bunch of them down there. They did like open workouts on the same day as UFC. Like when the UFC was doing theirs, they did theirs at Fortis, and they had Derek Lewis down there. They had a bunch of guys down there. Rashad Coulter. They had Steven Peterson. They had a bunch of dudes. I think Stipe was there at one point. I'm not 100% sure on that though. But
it's just unfortunate he ran into a guy with unbelievable leg kicks. Like that was just a game plan that most people don't have to deal with on a regular basis. That was
it's something that he would have been more prepared for had he have had to train for it. Like you get called on 10 days notice. You don't have much time to put together a game plan and train things for instinct.
You're not learning to check leg kicks 10 days out.
No, because it becomes an instinct, right? That's something you do for 12 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever your camp is, and you get the instinctual with it.
True.
He's not. He didn't have that kind of time, And the thing is too about a lot of these guys is that they work. Some of them. I don't know if Rashad does or not, but
Stipe is a fucking firefighter.
Yeah, and and people think about that's crazy for people to think about that someone has a full-time job and they're still able to compete at UFC level. But a lot of these guys do this because they don't make that money, so they have other jobs that they do. So it's good to see these guys get in there, score 50 grand. He's like single father or something too, I heard.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see. And I'm really looking forward to this fight with Peterson and Huerta. Should be a good one.
Get back in the win column.
Yes, sir. See what happens. But we're going to be back with our next guest. We're going to be back with Adam Piccolotti. Really looking forward to this. Wanted to talk to him last week. We weren't able to make it happen, but it's going to happen this week. So we will be back in a few minutes with Adam Piccolotti on the line. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Talk to you soon. Hey, what's up, Fight House fans? We're back. We have Adam Piccolotti on the line. How you doing, Adam? Welcome to the Fight House.
Hey, doing well. Thanks, man. Happy to be on the show with you.
Definitely, man. We're glad to have you. I guess we'll jump right into it, man. You were set up to fight with Brent Primus, and you ended up getting hurt, and you had to pull out of the fight. What was the injury?
I hurt my lower back. I actually ended up herniating a disc in my L5S1. It was something that with a lot of us fighters, and especially jiu-jitsu guys, we put a lot of strain on our spine, day in and day out training. And there'd been some sort of decay, and then there was finally an incident during training that set it over the edge. And it really put me out, really put me on my butt for a few weeks there.
How's it been healing up?
What was that?
I said, how's it been healing?
It's been healing great now. You know what? I've learned from all my earlier days of kind of grinding through the pain, and I really took the proper time off that I needed. I treated it. I was doing spinal decompression therapy 3 times a week, like taking all the supplements that I could, to aid in recovery, eating healthy. I was just really trying to take all the proper steps. So I'd say within like 7 or so weeks, it was already like pretty good as far as like walking around. And then by week 10 or so, I was pretty much good to go to get back into the gym. Don't get me wrong, it still gets sore in the mornings and things like that. And when I have really intensive days, it gets sore. But overall, it's freaking great. I'm ready to rock. I've already been cleared by the doctors. So I'm back in full swing of training now.
One thing, man, you and Brent were like lined up. It was the two big main prospects. Both you undefeated. It was supposed to be this who's going to be the contender and who's going to kind of stick around as a prospect for a couple more fights. Is it hard to watch what's happened for Brent since you dropped out of that fight? Like how he's gone on now. He's at MSG. He's fighting for a title. Like all of this stemming from the fight with you guys ending. Has it been a hard thing to watch him get all those breaks?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation to be in, you know what I mean? Like, it's not too, hard for me to watch. I understand where they're coming from. There wasn't really another challenger that would have fit that card well. Definitely a little bit frustrating. But on the same token, it reaffirms kind of my place in the organization. I know I'm getting towards the top, and to see the opponent who I was playing with to be getting the title shot, it's kind of like, okay, well, if he's fighting for the title now, I'm not far. I want to beat another guy and maybe one more after that and give me a shot. So it's got its moments. I'm a little bitter about seeing all the publicity he's getting and flying him out to all these cards and stuff. That's just because that's where I want to be. I've been working my butt off to get into the position I'm at, and to have been kind of slowed by this injury has been a real frustration. It's nothing towards Brent, it's nothing towards the organization. It's just it is what it is. It kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? Just gotta heal up and we'll smash next time.
Well, like you said, right, the silver lining is that you're on that level. Like you're in that same bracket. So I guess that's got to bring you a little bit of peace of mind. But yeah, that's what I figured, man. It couldn't have been easy. Like you're watching this guy show up at events and it's like he's fighting at MSG on the biggest platform you could fight on. I imagine that when you're laid up with a hurt back, that's not the easiest thing to watch. But speaking of another fight, like another big performance, Steve Cazzola has been calling you out. He's been open about wanting to fight you. He said you or Dylan Dennis are the two people that he wants to fight. You're undefeated 9-0. And that's, he's undefeated, and he thinks that would be the fight that would be a good one. Do you agree with him? Is that a fight you'd be interested in?
You know what? This internet troll he's been running his mouth trying to get some fights with me for some time now, and he pretty much ran his mouth enough to get onto that main card real quick. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Bellator lines it up. I'm not responding to him, not giving him the time of the day. I don't think that's not my style. Just trying to call people out from the beginning. He was calling me out before he's even on the main cards. You know what I mean? So that to me already rubs me wrong. I see this dude as an internet troll, and that's about it. He can fight some tougher opponents, and we can talk. If Bellator thinks that that's the right move, then I would gladly put my fist in his mouth. But other than that, I think he's got some more work to do before he gets his chance.
How do you feel you match up with him? Like, have you even given him that? Have you even looked at him and kind of gauged where you line up with him?
Yeah, I mean, what is he, a striker? You know what I mean? Like, what's he gonna do? Try to punch me? Try to avoid my jiu-jitsu? Is he gonna out wrestle me? No. It's the same thing that I've been dealing with my whole career. Sure, he's got undefeated record and some good finishes, but it's like at the same time, like, I have confidence in my game. I have confidence in my camp, my preparation, my trainers, to where, I'm ready to take on anybody from any organization at any time. So for this guy, Cozola, whatever his name is, to kind of come out of the woodworks and just try to talk his way into a fight, I haven't put too much energy towards it. I've been just treating it kind of like the way I am now. He's been trolling his way through the rankings. Good for him. You gotta. What do they say? Closed mouths don't get fed, right? He's trying to do his thing. Good for him. But it's like Gertz responded to the guy. He's untested. So for him to be thrown into the top 10 of Bellator, I think would be a mistake. But it is what it is. Whatever they decide to do, I'm going to do. So it's up to the brass. But I am hungry. I am looking for a fight. So. Hopefully they give me something that does something good for my record in my career. But if it's this cat, then that is what it is, and it'll be a good night.
If not, Steve, I mean, obviously you're looking for a big fight. Like you had Brent lined up. That's a huge fight considering where you guys were in the division. Who else would you have your eye on when you look at it? Is there another guy
most of the dance partners are taken. Yeah, I want Pitbull Campos.
Sure.
So they're fighting each other. After that, I don't see too many more people that are ranked above me in my eyes anyway. I'd love a super fight with like a Benson if he were to ever come back to 55 and is healthy. I know he had knee issues, but that would be a dream fight for me. But yeah, I'm looking for the top fights. I've been training my butt off. I've been working with the best in the world, and I want to just go out there and prove it to everybody that I am this prospect that's turning into a champion.
After being sidelined and with the emergence of a few other people in the division, how important is it for you to go out and have a huge performance in your next time in the cage and just kind of like cement yourself, remind everybody? Like, do you feel like that's something that you need to do?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I feel the same way no matter what's going on in the division. It's like one of those things. Like when I get that question about being undefeated, does that add pressure? Well, sure it does. But there's pressure on myself that I add. You want to go out there and get your butt kicked, and you always want to go out there and have a spectacular performance and a spectacular finish. And to be honest, it's right now that's determining that. It's right now being in the gym, what I'm working on right now, how I'm treating my body, how I'm treating my training, and I'm approaching all those things from 100% correct angles, and I'm setting myself up for success. I'm setting myself up for a spectacular, finish, a spectacular performance against whoever the opponent is every day with my training regimen, my discipline, and just my lifestyle, just kind of doing what I do. I think that it sets me up for these huge performances. So you can't put too much pressure on yourself. I feel like you have to just live in the moment. Like I said, do all the correct steps, set yourself up for success, so that when that moment comes, I'll be ready for it.
When you see, you've been putting in work, you're undefeated, you've been going through the division, doing what you got to do, plucking off one at a time, and then you see a guy like Dylan Dennis, speaking of people in the division, what do you think of how he's just kind of burst onto the scene and he's all of a sudden in the mix here and he hasn't even fought an MMA fight? What's your feelings on this?
Yeah, to me, it's one of those things where I mean, I come from the jiu-jitsu world, but I'm not too involved in the jiu-jitsu sport world anymore. So I honestly didn't even know who Dylan Dennis was for the longest time. I heard he was Connor's training partner. I heard he trained under Marcelo Garcia. That's all I really heard. I didn't even know the guy wanted to fight, you know. So for him to kind of pop on the scene and get all this publicity is kind of weird. It's just kind of weird to me. It's kind of like, well, why? Is it, you know, literally just because he's friends with Conor McGregor and training partners or whatever, you know? Is it because of his jiu-jitsu pedigree? If so, like, I feel like maybe they could make that more apparent. I don't know, you know, but to be a debuter and be getting all this hype, or I think is he a debuter?
Yeah, he's a debut.
Has he fought before?
He's 0-0 in MMA. He's never fought an MMA fight.
Yeah, you know, so for him to be getting all this, you know, exposure is kind of weird. It's like, you should really prove yourself first. I'd like to see what happens when he gets, you know, punched in the face and pushed and tested, and see if, you know, if it's even for him. You never even know.
Do you feel like there's too many of these guys? Like, do you feel like the sport's gone in a direction where marketability is just kind of getting too much weight with these promotions? Like, just the fact that you could sell this guy in a fight, all of a sudden it's like he's a contender, and it's like, well, wait a minute, he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of, you know, a sad truth as to where our sport is in terms of a business mind. I think there's a lot of really good competition going on that's kind of flying under the radar of these kind of like big promotional showcase fights, you know, built off of people like a Dylan Dennis. You know, I think it's unfortunate. I see the reasoning. You know, people want to be compelled to watch a fight and want to be compelled to tune in. I just wish that that all the organizations out there were doing a better job of putting emphasis on, you know, the people that, you know, are already in the game, that are already proven themselves, that you know are going to go out there and put on a good fight. It's kind of a risk putting all your eggs into this basket with like this Dylan Dennis kid. You know, who knows what's going to happen? He might just totally shit the bed. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can swear or not, but he might just totally, you know, just have a horrible performance. For, you know, not only your first fight getters, but your first fight on Bellator, televised. It's like, there's a lot of things going on. You know, why does y'all put that into somebody that's already established himself as competition savvy? You know, it's unfortunate, but it's part of the game, and you know, I'm not a hater on it. I'd like to continue to promote myself and build that same type of hype around me.
Definitely. You know, I guess I should ask you, what do you think of the fight between Primus and Chandler? How do you believe that fight goes? I
think, you know, it's a tough fight for Primus for sure. I think 9 out of 10 times it's probably going to go towards the way of Chandler. But Primus is a big dude, you know. He's a big 55er. I know Chandler's wrestling is really good. His striking is really good too. But, you know, Primus could put him on the ground and give him some trouble if he does get on top and put Chandler's back on the floor. I think that's going to be the deciding factor, though. You know, it's going to come down to their MMA wrestling and who can take down, who can defend. I think it's going to be kind of Chandler brawling and Primus having trouble getting in. Yeah, it's a tough fight. I mean, Chandler's a pretty tough outing for most, so I think Primus will have a chance for this fight.
Awesome. You know, one last question for you, man. When do you want to get back in there? How soon do you want to be back in the cage? When can we expect to see you again?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, I sent in my doctor release form to Bellator so they could start finding opponents for me.
Okay.
We've been calling him for the past probably 2 weeks now, you know, telling him, hey, anything lined up. So we're looking. I'm ready to go. I would like, you know, a full 6-week, 8-week camp if possible, but, like, I've been preparing myself, so my conditioning's good right now. My weight's good right now. It's really just finding an opponent, creating game plan strategy, and getting ready, putting in the final work, the final sparring sessions, and all that stuff. So I would like to fight. I would even fight on that New York card if they called me. So anytime, you know, June, July. I'd say early July would be perfect, but, you know, we'll see. It's up to them.
Awesome. Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for giving us some of your time today. I know you're a busy guy, and I hope to see you back in that cage sooner rather than later.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, man. I appreciate having me on, and yeah, thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely, man. And you know, hopefully we can have you on again a little closer to fight time, and we'll talk about whatever fight you got lined up.
Perfect. Yeah. One more thing, real quick, is I'm currently working on setting up a vlog. So what I want to do is I want to promote this vlog that's going to be kind of just following me on a weekly basis. I'm going to be doing check-ins, kind of just taking you through some of my training, taking you through some of my nutrition, some of my, my concepts, my mind state, my theories, all my rambling. I can get a little bit rambling sometimes, and kind of show people what it is to be an MMA fighter, what it is to, find the different times to train all the different martial arts, and also lead up into fights that are hopefully big fights. So I think it could be something really cool. I don't think there's anything out there at the level that I'm at.
Yeah, sounds super
so
interesting.
I literally just started a YouTube channel. There's only one video, just a little edit that I put up, but I should be releasing a vlog first episode within the next probably week or two. So if anybody listening is interested in anything that I just said, the channel's name is just my name, Adam Piccolotti, and also my Instagram, Twitter, and all that is Adam Piccolotti. You can hear about all the news coming out.
Sweet. We will definitely share it on all our social media platforms, and we'll get it out there, man.
Right on, my man. I appreciate it.
No problem, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
All right, take care, Brent. Have a good night.
All right, bye.
Bye. That was Adam Piccolotti, sorry. Good dude, man. I can't wait to see that guy get back in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
He threw you off with the YouTube channel there.
yeah, he did a little bit. No, but that's cool.
That's
man.
awesome.
Get it out there. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of work, but that's another way to make yourself super successful for sure. Like that's a necessity. It's going to eventually be a necessity for any successful fighter. I do believe that, honestly.
Well, it already is. It already is.
It's
You
true.
got to be available on social media. I mean, not necessarily a YouTube channel, but you have to be.
Well, you see Connor, he's got the Mac Life and all that stuff. So
Yeah, you have to be. You have got to be on social media if you want any sort of a fan following, and the fan following is what leads to you getting more money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Good on him though. Like he could be sitting back, thinking I'm not fighting in Madison Square Garden. I'm gonna sit back and wait for opponents. Like no, I'll do something to create exposure. Good on him.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely, absolutely. And he's tough as shit. This guy, 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
Definite prospect, definite contender. I can't wait to see what's next for him. I personally would like to see him fight Steve Cazzola. I think that would be an awesome fight.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I know, and it's another one against like a 0-0 guy. It's an undefeated versus an undefeated, so it kind of brings that same feel as the Brent Primus fight. But mind you,
9-0 versus 8-0.
Yeah, mind you, Steve Cazzola's not. I don't know if he brings the same push as Brent.
He's got like 7 knockouts in a row.
No, he's a savage.
Finishes.
He's a savage.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
The guy's an amazing fighter. I just don't know if he brings the same clout.
True.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I personally think he's awesome. I think I love watching him fight.
I love that class. You gotta love that classic matchup too. The BJJ versus just striking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Listen, we're gonna be back with our next segment. We're gonna have Andre Harrison on the line. We're gonna be talking about the closure of World Series of Fighting, what that means for him as the featherweight champion, his contract, what he plans, like these types of things. So if you're interested, stay tuned because we're gonna be talking with Andre in a minute. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Fight House fans. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Andre Harrison on the line. We're hoping to be able to get him on the line before the end of the show, but if not, we'll get in touch with him. We'll try to have him rebooked for next week. Hopefully we can get him on, like I said, but it's not the case at this moment. But we will be back right after with the UFC's Colby Covington. We're going to have a good conversation about his upcoming fight with Don Young Kim, his call-outs of Rafael Dos Anjos and the rest of the welterweight division, the possibility of fighting a former teammate in Tyrone Woodley. We got lots to talk about, so stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
All 3 judges score this contest 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Colby Chaos Covington.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Colby Covington. He's getting ready for a big fight with Don Young Kim. Hey, Colby, how you doing? Welcome to the Fight House.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on the I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're happy to have you. Finally got yourself back in the octagon, man. It's been a long wait. I bet you're happy to be stepping back in there.
Oh, definitely, man. It's been a long time coming, I'm a real fighter, so I'm trying to stay active. I'm trying to fight like once every 2 months, but, that's tough to do when guys are ducking you.
I was about to say, man, was it frustrating to be calling out pretty much the entire division and still struggle to find a fight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I called every single dude out from the champion to number 100. You know, I just wanted to fight. It didn't matter who they put in front of me. I'm a real fighter. I'll fight anybody. I'm not one of these guys just trying to pick an easy road. Oh, give me a good matchup. I don't really care. Matchups don't mean anything to me. When I feel like I'm on a different level than everybody else, it doesn't really matter about the matchup. I feel like I can beat every matchup. So it was very frustrating to be calling every single person out and nobody was responding and trying to take the fight.
Why do you think you were having so much trouble finding a fight? Why do you think no one would be willing to take that fight, like even in the top 10, top 5?
Because they all know it's a tough fight. You know, my credentials, my wrestling, and my well-rounded fighting skills, you know, it's a dangerous fight for anybody. Even Tyron Woodley will tell you, or Robbie Lawler, all these guys I've trained with, you know, they know how good I am. They know everybody's seen me train at American Top Team. They know what I'm capable of. So, you know, these guys that have these numbers next to their name with rankings, you know, these guys are scared, man. They're trying to look for good matchups and good matchups that get them to a title shot. They're not trying to look for a guy that's not ranked like me. I'm right on the outside looking in at number 16 in the world. They're not trying to take on a guy like me without a ranking. They're trying to look for good matchups in the rankings that can help move them closer to a title shot.
You know, you took aim at Rafael dos Anjos as soon as he made the jump up to 170. What was it? You know, you more than anyone took offense to him jumping up and just trying to find these big fights. What was it about his move to 170 that frustrated you so much?
Oh, dude, it really got under my skin how entitled he was acting in his interviews. He was talking all these interviews saying, oh, I deserve a top 5 fight at 170. Oh, I deserve this at 170. Motherfucker, you ain't done nothing at 170. You haven't won one fight at 170. What thinks you're going to come up to 170 and jump ahead of the line? I'm trying to get to that top 5, fight those top 5 fighters too. So I just thought it made sense. You know, he's coming off 2 losses at a lighter weight class. I'm coming off 3 wins at a higher weight class. I've been holding it down at this weight class, winning 6 fights in the UFC. So, you know, he just really got under my skin, acting entitled, like he deserves stuff. You got to earn it. So I wanted to make him earn it. I want him to have to go through me if he thinks he's going to get to the top of the echelon of the welterweight division.
You know, and I heard you say when someone asked you about him once, I heard you say that he was an easy fight for you, and that's why, like, another reason you wanted to fight. Was it about his style that made you feel like he's an easy fight for you?
He likes to go forward. And he likes to wrestle guys. He likes to put guys on the back and beat them up and make it a tough fight. He's not going to be able to do that to me. No one in this division could take me down. I can promise you that. And if they do take me down, they have zero chance to hold me down. So, you know, it was just an easy stylistic matchup. He's a little guy. He's 5'8". He's not that great of a striker. You know, it just was a perfect matchup for me to finish a guy like that and really get some name recognition, because I haven't really been able to get a big name under my belt because none of these guys want to fight me. So he was the biggest name that I would have been able to get at the time. So that's what I was looking for. And you know, he's an easy style matchup. So I'll take that easy money any day. I was willing to give him my show money too. That's what I told the UFC. I said, hey man, I'm so confident I will go out there and finish him, then I'll give him my show money. I'll just take my win money after I beat him.
Oh, I love it. You know what? Anytime someone has supreme confidence like that, man, it's something I respect so much because it's such a crucial part of this game. Was that fight ever even close to coming together?
Yeah, definitely. It was very close to coming together. You know, the UFC, all the other welterweights were booked or hurt, so there wasn't anybody else in the division. Tarek Saffiedine, you know, he was sitting on it. He didn't know if he wanted to take the fight, so the UFC was like really considering it. But then he told the UFC, he's like, no, we don't want that fight. So pretty much they're like, okay, you want to turn down Colby? All right, then we'll just give him a bigger fight, a better ranked guy that gets him closer to a title shot, and then we'll put you on the same card ahead of you. So, you know, the UFC saw my willingness, ready to fight anyone, anytime. So they gave me a bigger fight, and he's got to take a step back and fight the guy that I'm fighting that he just lost to.
You know, that's one thing I was just about to ask you. That was my next question. Is it a bit of a vindication for you that as much as RDA acted as if you weren't a big enough name, he's actually fighting behind you on the card in Singapore?
Yeah, definitely it's a vindication. You know, he's trying to live off his past accomplishments, man. It ain't about your past accomplishments in this sport. It's about what you've been doing lately, and you're only as good as your last fight. That's how it goes in this sport. You know, he's coming off 2 losses. I don't care what names they're to, but you know, he's trying to come up to a new weight class, act like he's the king of the weight class. He's a nobody at this weight class. He hasn't established himself at this weight class, so it's definitely a vindication to be above him on the card so he can watch me win in an emphatic fashion against Dong Hyun Kim.
You know, speaking of Dong Hyun Kim, he's a huge welterweight. How much preparation has to go into dealing with his height and his reach?
There's a lot of preparation that goes into that. Luckily, at American Top Team, I have all different styles to match up with. I have all these long guys that have big reach. A guy named Steve Montgomery in our gym who fought at 185 in the UFC. He's a southpaw, tall, lanky guy. So, I've got a good look in the gym from judo guys and tall, lanky guys, and that's not going to be a problem, man. Those tall, lanky guys, I eat those guys up.
Where do you feel like when you look at his style and you give it an honest assessment, you look at your skills, where do you feel like your advantages are when you guys step into the cage?
Honestly, I think my advantages are everywhere. I don't think he has an advantage over me besides maybe having more fights in the UFC and having more experience. He's shown as of late that he's kind of starting to fade in his career. He's getting a little bit past his prime. I'm just coming into my prime. So, if he wants to make it a dogfight, that's going to favor me. A pace, a pace type fight where it's a high pace, high energy fight, that's going to 100% favor me. If he wants to get into grappling exchanges, he's going to have a real tough time. He's not going to feel that type of pressure that he's ever felt before. And just striking. He has a lot of holes and mistakes in his game, and I've really honestly completed and well-rounded out my game in the last couple months at American Top Team, and I think I can exploit him. He likes to jump in the pocket with spinning elbows and big strikes, and if he comes to do that on June 17th in Singapore, I'm going to pick him apart.
He does come with a skill set of his own, but what do you need to, when you, what your advantages are, but when you assess his skills, what do you feel like is going to be most important for you to do well in order to walk away with the victory?
I just got to stick to my game plan. I have a foundation of how I compete and how I fight, and I'm not going to stray away from that foundation. I like to put the pressure on guys. I like to rack up the takedowns. I like to put guys on their back and make them fight for their life, but at the same time, you're going to have to deal with my new evolved striking game. So, I'm going to be mixing in, and I don't think anybody can blend striking and wrestling like I can now. And I think he's going to be on his toes all night, guessing when I'm going to take him down and guessing when I'm going to strike. So I really feel like I can pick him apart. He's just going to be picking and guessing all night. I don't got to guess about him. He has no chance to take me down. And if he wants to come in reckless in the pocket, I'm going to put him on his back and put elbows in his face and break his jaw.
Not much to say to that other than that's business in the cage, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's how it goes, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kill or be killed in that octagon, man.
Absolutely. That's the attitude you got to go in there with, because they're definitely not going in there to be friends with you. That's for sure.
No.
One of the biggest variables in this fight for you might actually be outside of the cage. Like, you have to make that trip to Singapore. He doesn't have nearly as much travel to do for this fight. You've already been there to do some media in Singapore. How important was it for you to make that trip and handle that long flight, the food over there, and all those other variables to get a little bit of experience? How good was that for you?
Oh man, that was life changing. That was everything. If I didn't do that trip the first time, I was definitely going to have a lot of troubles on fight night. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of mental stuff. He's talking about in interviews saying that he's going to be jet lagged, this and that. That's a lot of mental. You get over there a good enough time early, you get acclimated and you get adjusted. That's more of a mental thing. He's trying to put that mental thing. So that already tells me right away that I've already won on that scale, because he's mentally weak, and I'm not a mentally weak person. I come from a very tough background of wrestling, and I've been traveling the world my whole life. My first fight was in Macau, China. I got adjusted there. That was fine. Brazil, I went there. I went to Japan. I went to Australia. I went to these places. So it was very important for me to go to Singapore and see what the time change was like and the flight over there, and the food. But, I acclimated well when I was over there, and I'll do the same before this fight. I'll adjust accordingly, and I'll be ready to go on June 17th.
Now, I think they're 12 hours. There's a 12-hour difference, correct? I think.
Yeah, they're 12 hours ahead of East Coast time.
So how's that been for your training? Have you had to change the hours in which you train in order to be able to get your body where you need your body to be, I guess, at that time? Is that something you have to do over time?
Yeah, I've definitely gotten up earlier, and because it's going to be 8 or 9 p.m. over there when I'm fighting, which will be 8 or 9 in the morning over here East Coast time. So I've definitely got my mind adjusted to that, getting up earlier and getting to training, because usually I'll wake up at late in the day and go get an afternoon training. But I've definitely already started to think ahead and started to get up earlier and just get adjusted to get my body ready to go early in the morning over here, which will be night over there.
How soon are you going over there to get yourself acclimatized and get ready with their schedule over there, their food and all that type of stuff? How soon are you doing that?
I'm gonna go 12 days early.
12 days. Oh, you think that should be more than enough time for you?
Yeah, that'll be plenty of time. I went over there for the press conference before the fight, last month, and I was out there like 4 days, and definitely the first like 3 days hurt. And I was not able to stay up like during the day. I was passing out during the day, and like I was up at midnight, and I couldn't go back to sleep, which was tough, So those first 3 days hurt, but by the fourth day I started to feel good. I was like, I feel really good. I'm training hard out here. I was getting my schedule on, so going out 12 days will be plenty of time. By the fifth or sixth day, I'll be acclimated out there, and I'll be ready to put on a show.
You've been in the media a lot. You've put yourself out there, and you got a lot of eyes on you now. How important is it for you to go out there and have an impressive finish and finish this in devastating fashion now that you've caught the attention of the people?
Can you repeat that one more time? I couldn't hear. It was a little bit light.
No problem. What I was saying is, you've got the attention on you. You've got the eyes of the people on you. You've been in the media. We've seen you over the media over the past few weeks. How important is it for you to go over there and finish this in an impressive fashion now that you have those eyes on you and then people are paying attention to you?
It's very important. This is I want to put on a spectacular show. I've talked a very big talk. Now it's time for me to walk a very big walk. I'm very supremely confident. I feel like in my past performances, there's been factors that have kind of held me back. I'm not going to make excuses, but I haven't been able to live up to my full potential, and I really believe this fight is going to set me up to live up to my full potential, and I'm gonna put on an exciting show. I'm gonna make sure all those fans, every single media member, everybody in the world knows who Colby Covington is after June 17th.
And the one thing
you're pushing yourself right towards
that title. You seem to have a path for yourself. You know exactly where you're headed. The fact that Tyron Woodley used to train at ATT with you, does that make it difficult for you to get up for a fight with him? Like, is that a struggle for you?
No, that doesn't make it difficult at all. This is a one-man sport. There is no team in the individual championship. He used to train at American Top Team when he started his career, but since the last couple of years, he's been at Duke Rufus, and he kind of went a little weird on me the last couple of years. So I was training with him. He brought me out for a training camp when he was getting ready for Roy McDonald. So I was whooping his ass. We were supposed to go 5 rounds, and he was done with me after 2. So no, I don't want to train no more. I'm good for the day. So. He knows how good I am, and he knows I'm a real bad style matchup for him. So that I'll have no problem getting up for that fight. I got in this with my big goals and dreams, and I want to be the best in the world. I don't care who's in the way. I'm getting that. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna be. I don't care who's there.
So you say that you've been out there, you've sparred with Tyron, you've put in time with him in the gym. What have you seen in the gym that gives you the confidence that you could beat him for the title? Is there anything in his skill set? Like, I know you said like he kind of quit on you there, like when you guys were going your rounds, but was there something in his skills that you saw that you're like, yeah, like I can win this fight. This is my fight to win.
Absolutely. He has big holes in his game. He doesn't have a cardio tank, to be honest. He can't go 5 rounds, and that's why you saw a real boring fight with Stephen Thompson. He didn't want to engage. He didn't want to wrestle because, if he wrestles, he knows he's going to get tired. He's not going to be able to go 3 rounds. He has all that muscle. He's packing all that muscle. It takes a lot of cardio and a lot of oxygen to carry those muscles. So, he has big gaps in his cardio game, and I know I can exploit his weaknesses. And honestly, I can make him quit inside 5 rounds, and I'm very, very sure of that.
You know what? I hope I get to see you. Get that opportunity. I think it'll be a great fight, and I really want to thank you for taking some time for us here at the Fight House and dropping in and speaking with us. I know you're a busy guy. You're training and whatnot. So thank you very much, Colby, and I really look forward to the fight with you and Don Young Kim.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys having me on Fight House. Much respect, guys.
Thanks a lot, man, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Colby.
All right, thanks. Have a good night.
You too, man. Bye. It's nice to talk to that guy. That guy's a raw, emotion-driven guy. When you hear him, like he's invested.
When you're in that kind of when you train with all those kind of like high quality fighters, I guess you have to bring something to the table every day even in practice. It's crazy how this game works. Like like you were talking about earlier, RDA is gonna be fighting basically underneath him. I think it's the co-main event, but technically it's not because
no. They're pushed a little bit back on the main card. They're both on the main card.
But imagine 24 months ago if I just said to you like RDA will be the 5th fight on the card. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. Yeah. But, you know, I guess it is and it isn't, right? Like, they had his title fight on Fight Pass.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, he's never been a draw.
He's not marketable.
He's not a marketable guy. Like, he's pretty quiet. He's pretty reserved. He's to himself.
But he seemed unstoppable at one point. He really did. Yeah.
He did seem unstoppable at one point. Then USADA came. I'm not saying, listen.
It's true.
These are just facts. I mean, those aren't. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying that you've cheated or whatever. I'm just saying, timeline wise, facts are facts. Since USADA came in, if you look and you line up his career with that, he's fallen off in that time.
There's lots of guys, and that, like you could say, I don't want. Again, you naming names, it's just hearsay, whatever. But if you look at the fights, I mean, you go like Chris Weidman, even, you know, there's a bunch of different guys where you look at their records after USADA coming in, and it's just you can't help but think about it, you know.
Or you just look at how people have changed
physically.
If you like look at Jacare Souza, look at how his body looked. It didn't look the same.
No.
It did not look even close to the same. And there's been a lot of guys like that, you know what I mean? And then you got guys like Colby. Colby's a savage. Like, he's a savage. He's a guy that's a fighter. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that are almost like a Cody Garbrandt, in that he loves to fight. Like, I just want to fight. You know what I mean? And that's a mentality.
I wonder what the odds on stun gun are going to be, right? Probably like a plus 700. Something.
He's got it. I don't know if he's going to be that big.
It should be something pretty high. I mean, like he said, he's up in age, and he's on a 3-fight win streak, I guess. But he's been dodging fighters and dropping out of fights. So I think it's going to be probably at least plus 300, something like that.
I'll tell you what, man. If Colby's paying out, I'm putting my money.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Colby.
saying. That'd be a good bet.
That's a good bet. I don't like. The only thing I get worried about is that travel.
Yeah.
You know, but he's going there 12 days in advance. I'm sure that he should be okay.
He's thought about it.
Yeah, is this something that he's not new to? Like he said, I've traveled to China, I've fought in Brazil, I've fought in all these places. I've put that time in. So, this is not something he's new to.
He's not going to pull a Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, I can't imagine that he's going to be completely driven and prepared. Yeah. I have no doubt. And he's a beast, and he's training with killers, man. Like, you look at the
roster's insane.
You look at ATT.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
They got a room full of killers, man. Yeah. And from multiple promotions. Like, sometimes we think about, like, just the UFC guys, but they got killers over
Strauss
there. Strauss and Jordan Young trains out of there, up and comer. You know, they got a lot of killers over there, man. Lazara trains over there. They got all the girls going over there. Women, sorry. Yeah, Amanda Nunes. Joanna.
It just keeps going forever.
Yeah, like they have an endless list. They have an endless list of killers over there. So, I don't know. I imagine he's getting good work over there with whoever, when he's putting his work in.
I'm excited to watch the fight.
Yeah. Well, this was another great show. Hopefully we can get Andre back on the line, and if not, we'll try to book him again for next week. But, today we had a lot of great guests. I'm really happy with the way the show went down. A lot of good conversation. So tune in, guys, and we'll be back next week. We're gonna have a few fighters off the LFA 14 card in the house. We should have. We're trying to finalize things, but we should have Roberto Sanchez, Jerome Rivera will be back, Dulani Perry will be back.
I love how this number 14 already. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, they're moving and grooving, man. They're moving and grooving. Apparently, they got like 32 events for the year or something like that, or 40 events or something like this. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, sticking with us. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you back again next week. Have a great night. From Jason
who are
Sutcliffe.
you, Jason?
Yeah, I was getting to. He's no faith. I want you guys to have a great night from me, Jason Sutcliffe, and
Tristan Keddy.
It was a good week, guys. Tune in. Talk to you guys again.